So I could be like everybody else and lead with impeachment, which obviously the former President Trump's impeachment trial began today. We will get to that, but I am actually going to start with something different. I didn't put it in the headline because in this effed up world we live in, if I put it in the headline, YouTube would demonetize me. Who the hell knows? Maybe remove me altogether. So you got to be careful what you put in a headline or images. But I'm going to start with President Biden borrowing the fascist baton from President Trump and deciding that his administration is going to continue its persecution of journalism by going after Julian Assange. President Biden's administration plans to continue to seek to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange from the United Kingdom to the U.S. to face hacking conspiracy charges, the Justice Department said today. Justice Department spokesperson Mark Raimondi on Tuesday said the U.S. government will continue to challenge a British judge's ruling last month that Assange should not be extradited to the U.S. because of the risk he would commit suicide. In a January 4th ruling, the judge, Vanessa Barrister, said, "I find that the mental condition of Mr. Assange is such that would be oppressive to extradite him to the United States." I don't need to read you the rest. You get the point. So let's be extremely clear here. Joe Biden, besides the fact that Donald Trump ran a terrible campaign, besides the fact that there is a deadly pandemic that Donald Trump horribly mismanaged and frankly didn't give a damn about, Joe Biden is largely responsible. Joe Biden largely won the Democratic primary because he hugged for dear life Obama. That's why he won. No offense, but that's why he won. Frankly, that's why most black people in South Carolina voted for Joe Biden. I know that's, white-splaining to say so, but the truth is most older black voters in South Carolina voted for Joe Biden because he was a loyal soldier for Barack Obama, who they love. So Joe Biden in the debates, Joe Biden, as much as he breathed, wrapped his hands around Obama. Maybe he sniffed Obama's hair and we just didn't see it because we know Biden likes sniffing people. And he said, Obama's my BFF. Remember, he tweeted out the little BFF bracelet with Obama. He took credit for anything Obama supposedly did well, and whatever Obama did not do, he wouldn't touch. So Obama, to his credit, we could credit somebody when they're right, Obama and his Department of Justice decided not to charge Julian Assange, not to charge him with anything. Not to charge him with the Espionage Act, not to charge him with some BS, bullshit, hacking charges, swear jar, super chat, not to demonetize, not to charge him, because they understood, even though they hate Julian Assange, even though he committed the, capital crime of releasing the truth about Hillary Clinton and her corruption, they decided that going after Julian Assange would be an affront to journalists, that what Julian Assange did is not different than what corporate media darlings the New York Times has done in the past, the Washington Post, who, by the way, the New York Times and several other outlets worked with WikiLeaks on many things. So they decided not to charge him. The only reason that Assange was charged by Trump's administration is because Trump was letting the neocon inmates run the asylum, first with Jeff Sessions, then with the merry-go-round of DOJ directors, attorney generals, and Trump basically fed them a bone. And the CIA wanted to go after Assange. The FBI wanted to go after Assange. Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, name your agency. They wanted to go after Assange. And as such, first in the Ecuadorian embassy and now in Belmarsh prison, he has been essentially languishing in torturous conditions. He has lost an exorbitant amount of weight. He is not physically or mentally well. And a judge ruled, the judge in the UK basically said, well, I agree with all of the U.S.'s completely un-American, completely fascist rationalizations for why Assange should be extradited. The judge agreed that Assange allegedly tried to help Chelsea Manning hack passwords, which there's no evidence that he did. But she basically agreed with all that, but said, ironically, the U.S.'s horrific prison system and conditions, it would be inhumane to send Julian Assange to the U.S. But Biden, even though his predecessor, which he's held on for dear life to get elected, Obama, even though his predecessor did the right thing in this case, Biden wants to continue this political jihad against Julian Assange. Why, do you ask? Could it be because of the Clinton wing of the Democratic Party, which is still a huge, huge element in his administration? Could it be because of the donors who don't like Assange? Why is Joe Biden deciding to waste taxpayers' money and to continue, as he took on Trump, at least rhetorically, took on Trump's unprecedented attack on the free press? Why is he now continuing on with Trump's straight-up fascist campaign against Julian Assange? There is no rational, humane, legal, legitimate reason that Julian Assange should be in prison. There is no you could hate somebody, like you have every right to hate Julian Assange. If the CIA wants to hate him, if the White House wants to hate him, if all of them want to hate him, I don't agree with that, but you could hate him. I saw somebody tweet earlier when I tweeted out something about this. Let him rot in prison. He's responsible for Trump. Number one, no, he's not. But number two, if we start saying let people rot in prison who are responsible for hurting our political team, then that's not a democracy. That's just tribalism. Run amok. Joe Biden, I'm not naive. We're not going to pressure Joe Biden left on anything, really. He's already moonwalked away from actual $2,000 checks. As I explained yesterday, he's now moonwalking and softening his stance on actually pushing a $15 minimum wage as part of the coronavirus stimulus. By the way, can you smash the like button? We got 430 people watching. Please smash that like button. 186 of you have pressed the like button. You are welcome to Super Chat too. If you're feeling super, let me know. Also, for those of you that came late, in 2 hours, we will have our members-only call through Zoom. So sign up as a member, statuscoup.com/join. That's statuscoup.com/join. Join us for $5 a month, and you will get the link to our members call while also supporting independent, in-the-field journalism. Keep it coming. Sign up. But this is absolutely outrageous. And frankly, the only way Biden is going to be pressured and shamed to stop this bullshit, which clearly is not only a threat to Assange, to WikiLeaks, it's a threat to me and Status Coup. If they could get away with doing this to Julian Assange, why can't they get away with saying, I actively participated in sources getting information that they then leaked to me? Who's to stop them from doing that? Who's to stop them from targeting any journalist that doesn't toe the corporate line, that doesn't kiss Biden's ass or future Biden's asses, and that basically say, no, it wasn't leaked to you. You were part of the criminal act of disseminating this information. This goes way beyond whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're progressive, whether you're a neoliberal. It doesn't matter. We already have a corrupt, and we're going to talk about this on the members call tonight because I got some revelations to tell my members. We already have a corrupt corporate media. We already have a corrupt corporate media that covers for the establishment. We already have a corrupt corporate media that basically takes ridiculous billionaire-bought think tank studies, passes it off as journalism to make sure we can't have a minimum wage increase, to make sure Medicare for all never happens, to make sure we don't have a Green New Deal, to make sure the masses stay numb and complacent. But now you want to basically license and make it possible for Joe Biden and other future leaders, say a President Tom Cotton, a President Josh Hawley, fill in the blanks, to essentially target any journalist they want, say, no, they didn't just publish the information, they were part of the process to illegally hack the information. What's your evidence? It doesn't matter, we say so. And we're going to use our friends in the UK or whatever other country or court to push this. Make no mistake, Julian Assange, again, you don't have to like him. Julian Assange is a political prisoner, just like Chelsea Manning was. Julian Assange has been tortured. They are keeping him in solitary confinement most of the day. There has been a widespread passing of infection and spread of coronavirus in his prison. Thank you, Pookie, New Jack City, $2. Biden broke his promise to get back in the Iran deal. Well, he's broken a lot of promises so far. So I want to hear strong condemnation from Bernie Sanders, from AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Pramila Jayapal, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, who am I forgetting? Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Marie Newman, Mondaire Jones, whoever I'm forgetting. Now is the time to go to war with Joe Biden. Yes, we have to focus on coronavirus, but we could do more than one thing at a time. And Joe Biden should not be allowed to basically pick up the fascist baton, because that's what this is, from Donald Trump, and then pretend he's, quote, restoring the soul of the country. This is fascism, straight up. They're not going after Assange, and what I mean by that is continuing with their appeal, which is going to keep him in jail. By the way, in the UK, they have released terrorists after they choose not to extradite them. They have released them into the public pending appeal, but they won't appeal. They won't release Julian Assange. Why do you think that is? Donald Speed, $5. You are off the naughty list. Why, thank you. So I will continue covering it, and there is no nuance or rationalization to this. If Bernard Sanders, if AOC, the squad, and all the other progressives do not start hollering about this, I and my small army will be coming for them. To be clear, YouTube, since you can't distinguish between violence and nonviolence, I'm not talking about violently coming for them. I'm talking about politically, rhetorically, organizing, coming for them. Because this is an affront to actual journalists. I've been working, and Jen's been working, night and day for weeks, and I will share some of the details on the members call tonight. Hint, hint, sign up as a member. I've been working for weeks, night and day. I don't really see my wife that much, who's in the chat. Love you. But you want to know something? This is an affront to me, because clearly, I'm not comparing myself to Assange. I didn't expose war crimes or any of that. But they will come after people like me if there is a precedent where you can basically make over and redefine journalism into criminal acts. And that's what this is. Smash the like button. Keep on pressing that like button. We got almost 500 people watching, 283 likes. Sign up as a Status Coup member so you could join our members call coming up, statuscoup.com/join. So I want to move on. You know, it would be low-hanging fruit to just show you the clips from the impeachment trial today and to fixate on this. I'm not going to waste time with that. To be clear, I think Trump should be impeached. I think he should be convicted. I have no problem that they're doing this trial. I do have a problem with the media is only fixating on Trump still, even though he's out of office. But I'm all for this. I think Trump should be impeached. I think there needs to be accountability. Briefly watching his lawyer this morning, I don't know if he was on drugs or is just a moron. But that guy, what does Trump say? They're not bringing their best. They're not bringing their finest. His lawyer is a moron. So, I mean, that's how I feel, to be direct. Trump did incite that. Frankly, Trump incited violence long before the Capitol attacks. Frankly, when he was at his rallies saying, hey, punch him in the face, I'll pay for your legal bills. That type of talk was inciting violence. And many, many micro violations and micro incitement happened along the way. So I'm all for doing this impeachment hearing, even though Jamie Raskin and the Democrats stole our footage. If you didn't notice, they used our footage. No courtesy to us. I didn't get a check from the House Democrats. This would be the only case that I would take their money. Somebody said it's fair use. No, it's not. You can't just use people's footage for your little impeachment trial without a courtesy, without anything. That's not fair use. So we'll be in touch with the House Democratic Party. And somebody said, Jordan, this is to elect, convict a criminal president, and you're talking about money? Yeah, we're a startup. We're a startup. And they're not going to use our footage shot by John without courtesying us, without a dime to us. But putting all that aside, now that you know my position, that he should be impeached, that he should be convicted, what happened at what the brainwashing that happened at that Capitol, leading, God knows how many people were there to try and overthrow the government. I'm not happy Joe Biden's president, but the sky is blue. We can't just claim, no, the election's stolen when our person doesn't win. In the case of Bernie, it was rigged twice, and there was evidence for it. In the case of Trump, there is no evidence that Trump had hundreds of thousands of his votes sent to Biden, even though there's plenty of channels and cable networks that, rode that horse as far as they could. But what I see is happening is, frankly, dangerous if you actually want to avoid another fascist takeover of our government. Even though Joe Biden, in my view, what he's doing with Julian Assange is a quieter, softer type of fascism. But what I see happening here, kudos to Colin with the wonderful visual aid. What I see happening here is the Democratic Party basically doing the same exact thing that they did after the 2016 election, hoping for a repeat. And what do I mean by that? The Democratic Party, instead of doing the easy layup, basketball terms, the easy layup would be $2,000 checks, pass $15 minimum wage as part of COVID relief, expand health care, do some type of government jobs program as part of COVID relief. Done, done, and done. You would wipe out in the midterms. It doesn't even matter if Trump would run again. You'd probably win re-election, whether it's Biden, Harris, or whatever neoliberal Neanderthal runs for president. Instead of doing all that and meeting the moment of the desperate economic need, the Democratic Party and their desperate, when I say desperate, I mean desperate, allies in the corporate media are trying to squeeze whatever remaining juice out of the orange that is Trump. When you watch CNN now, when you watch MSNBC now, by the way, if you didn't notice, CNN's ratings nosedived in the first week Trump was gone. His tweets, he can't tweet now, so people aren't interested. Ratings across the board were down. MSNBC, Fox, same story. They're up again now because of the reality impeachment hearing, reality TV. Trump's back in the news. But after he is acquitted, and he's going to be acquitted because the Republican Party are a bunch of, spineless little poops. Little shits, excuse my French. He's going to be acquitted. What are they going to do then? They can't actually, they're not interested in doing actual news. They're not interested in, per se, going to Flint, Michigan to tell you that the water is still poison or try to hold the people accountable for who poisoned that community. They're not interested in going around covering pipeline fights happening in Minnesota and other states, even during a pandemic. They're not interested in going to Seattle and other places to show you the economic terrorism going on right now, thanks to Jeff Bezos and Amazon. They're not interested in going down to Alabama to cover the unionization fight Amazon workers in Alabama are waging, and Amazon's Pinkerton-like fear campaign, intimidation campaign to get their workers not to vote to unionize in Alabama. They're not interested in covering progressive campaigns for state houses or elsewhere. They're not interested in real news. That's why Status Coup is expanding and growing. If you came to this late, we just posted yesterday on journalism jobs as well as ZipRecruiter that we're looking for a freelance reporter in the Midwest. We got me, Jen on the East Coast. We got Tina on the West Coast. Now we want to get somebody in the Midwest to cover a whole lot of other stories that, just geographically I'm not able to cover routinely. So we posted that. We're going to start it out kind of a trial basis, see if the person we choose works, and go from there. So there's plenty of stories to cover. They are not interested in covering it. Yes, I saw union bosses crying about Keystone. Piss off, union bosses. The planet's more important than your union jobs. And by the way, those union jobs could easily become green jobs. And if Bernie was president, he had a plan so that they wouldn't lose their jobs at all. There would be a very seamless transition. Presents, $5. People, call Joe Manchin's regional office in West Virginia. Give him an earful. I say go out and protest carefully, social distance, masks. Joe Manchin, CNN, MSNBC, Facebook, YouTube, corporate media, Silicon Valley, all of them that are propping up this status quo. But what I see happening, and you could say, well, Jordan, what do you mean they're redoing what they did after the 2016 campaign? After the 2016 campaign, instead of doing some soul searching and actually moving to the left after Hillary Clinton, the most experienced, the most well fundraised candidate ever at that point, they basically, instead of looking at why did Trump win, they created a new Cold War in Russia. And you could say, well, Jordan, it kind of worked, didn't it? They retook the House in 2018. They won the presidency in 2020. So isn't changing the subject, isn't not addressing people's economic needs, isn't being rhetorically progressive, but in reality conservative, didn't it work for them? Well, yeah, it worked for them because Trump was president. In the midterms of 28, he essentially destroyed his chances and the party's chances because of his horrible rhetoric, particularly with women. And then it worked again, barely, in the presidential election. Biden didn't win by a lot. Remember, we were getting predictions. He's going to win by 330 electoral votes. He's going to get to 330. He's going to get to 350, maybe 400 in the Electoral College. He got to 307. And he only won Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, not by a landslide. We're talking 1 or 2 percentage points. And he needed a deadly pandemic that Trump badly effed up to win. So Biden and the Democrats, they're not going to have Trump as the boogeyman in 2022. In 2024, they're also not going to have Trump as the boogeyman. And that's the key. They're trying to continue to run against Trump. They think it was a fluke in 2016. They think they would have won just running against Trump if they had a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. They said, we ran against Trump in 2018 and we won the midterms. We ran against Trump. We got to get rid of him, restore the soul of the nation in 2020, and we won. And they think doing that over again is going to win them, keep their margins in 2022, maybe grow their majority in the House, grow their majority in the Senate, and then they think, rinse, repeat, play that same old record, they'll keep the White House in 2024. By the way, Wendy Melly, was it Super Chat? Did Bernie confirm Nira? I don't believe there was a vote yet. I could be wrong. I didn't watch her full hearing, but I'm not sure, Sam, if you could check. I don't think they voted yet on Neera Tanden. I think it was, but I'm not sure. Obviously, impeachment got most of the attention today. So I'm not sure if he voted, or if they voted yet for Neera Tanden. If he did, woo, then Bernie is even more spineless than I thought, to tell you the truth. If Bernie voted for Neera Tanden, then that's a whole big bowl of weakness and essentially having no pride or respect for yourself and by the way, your supporters, if Bernie did that. But I don't have any intel. I didn't look before I went live, so I can't answer you. By the way, we got almost 600 people watching. Smash that like button. The more people that press like, the more people that will see this. Reminder, in about an hour and a half now, we have our members call. So sign up as a Status Coup member before 7:30 Eastern time, and you will get the link to join our Zoom call. Always a lot of fun. It'll be with myself, with Jen, John, the cameraman who's been freelancing for us. Tina will be there. So should be a lot of fun. Join us, statuscoup.com/join, and you'll get the link for our members call tonight. So what I'm saying to you is when you already have, CNBC did this piece. Sure, you could say it's anecdotal, but they spoke with X amount of people who are pissed off. Democrats, they already moonwalked. Biden already moonwalked. $2,000 check goes to $1,400 check. Oh, wait. Now we're going to, we got to target it. We got to means test it. Do we target and means test how much money we piss away for Iraq, Afghanistan, aid to Israel, aid to other countries? We don't means test any of that. Subsidies to banks, subsidies to the fossil fuckers, subsidies to big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley, the defense industry. We don't means test any of that. Only checks to the working class, to the desperate masses do we have to means test. Biden is kind of waffled. Technically, at the moment, they're keeping it at $75,000. Anyone making $75,000 or under will get that $1,400 check. Couple making $150,000 will get it. To me, that's not the fight we should be waging. There should have been a coordinated effort that not only are we getting an actual $2,000 check, but we're getting that every single month. Every single month until you're at 90 to 95% vaccination. That's it. Secondly, there is nothing in Joe Biden's, the media frames it as this sprawling, massive $1.9 trillion economic stimulus. Well, it's sprawling because it's a lot bigger than the Obamas in 2008. But let me ask you a question. When you have 45% of the jobs are not back that were lost from coronavirus. That's nearly half of the jobs that were lost, not back. When they're doing, I think, $400 unemployment, again, you're lucky if you get the unemployment. We've seen what a bureaucratic nightmare that is, trying to get that unemployment. $400 a week. Okay. A $1,400 check, $400 a week, not a thing to actually forgive or cancel the rent. If you are on that boat and you haven't been able to pay your rent or your mortgage, when the moratorium is up, maybe they'll extend it past March 31st. Let's say they extend it to July. Okay. This is just musical chairs. Eventually, you're going to be left with a bill, if you're lucky, $5,000. If you're not lucky, $20,000 or more. There's nothing in there for that. What is a $1,400 check? And I don't want to hear it from people, well, Jordan, it's better than nothing. General Charlatan, Sheridan, thank you. I cut my own hair. Don't do it. Thank God it's starting to look a little better, but you should have seen it the day I cut it. What are you going to do with a $1,400 check, $400 unemployment when the music stops and you're kicked out of your apartment or you're kicked out of your home? What are you going to do? A $1,400 check, they call it a survival check. I don't know about you, but if you have medical bills stacking up because of your deductible, I've had to pay $3,000 so far just this year to get an endoscopy for my stomach, to get a CAT scan for my abdomen, and now $900 I spent last night for a breathing test, that's with insurance. Just the deductible for the year. What about your car payments? What about your medicine? What about your student loans? What about fill in the blank, groceries? A $1,400 survival check? And I don't even understand why people write it like survival. Who's surviving off of $1,400? Who's surviving off of $400 a week? You could, well, devil's advocate, Jordan, you could say it's $400 a week plus whatever fucking crumbs you get from your state unemployment. Okay, let's say the $400 a week plus, I don't know, $250, $300 a week. Maybe, what does that bring you to, $700? You surviving off of $700 a week, times that by 4 with, if you don't have a job anymore or your hours have been cut or you're late with rent. If you were living in France, if you were living in Australia, if you were living in Canada, and for a year pandemic that is not over, we got 2 more contagious, more deadly variants going around, you were told you're going to get 1,200 plus 1,400. What is that? I failed math. Let me get my calculator here. 1,200 plus 1,400 plus 600. That you were going to get $3,200 for a year plus your unemployment with no eviction protection. When I say eviction protection, I mean when the music stops, you're not getting kicked out of your home. There's zero protection for that. Biden's COVID bill gives you that neoliberal fairy dust of jobs retraining. They started with this in the Clintons. That was the big billboard plan for the Democrats. We got a vibrant job retraining program. Jordan, you said surviving. We consider that harmful language. 600 people watching, by the way. Smash that like button. Got 600 watching, 435 likes. Keep pressing that like button. So what I'm here to tell you is you got the Democratic Party and the media. They are continuing. This isn't my opinion. This has already been reported. Their focus is still Trump. The Democratic Party seems to think that their winning strategy for the midterms to widen their margin is not to actually do things economically, not to do anything healthcare-wise, not to do anything, climate, you name it. They're going to run on QAnon. House Democrats are preparing to center their strategy for the far-off midterm elections on a simple, aggressive message. Republicans are the party of QAnon. Making an unusually early move to protect their narrow majority, House Democrats' campaign arm on Tuesday launched its first TV ad campaign, spotlighting supporters of the fringe conspiracy theory, including those who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, blah, 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 blah. So, let's go through the list here. And I know people will say, Jordan, you're being unfair. He's only been in office for 3 minutes. Well, FDR, in a similar economic situation, got more done in the first 10 days that Biden has gotten done now nearly a month. We're headed for a month next week. Biden, in an interview, is moonwalking. He's saying, I talked about this yesterday. I don't think we're going to be able to get it passed. I don't think we're going to be able to get it passed. $15 minimum wage as part of our COVID stimulus. We're going to have that as a standalone bill, and we'll negotiate with Republicans. What do you mean you don't think? I said this yesterday. What are you, some grasshopper? Some passive standbyer? You're the president. If you want the $15 minimum wage, part of your COVID bill, it would be in there. The Senate parliamentarian won't let you. Give me a break. And I would be the first one to credit Joe Biden, even though he's a neoliberal warmonger, if he fought and pushed for $15 minimum wage in the COVID relief bill. Then, after I credit him, I would push and start the campaign that we need to accelerate the phasing in of this $15 minimum wage. Sorry, $15 minimum wage is not good enough if you're not going to get it till 2025. Already, if we're factoring in inflation, it would be closer to $23 to $25 a month. So they already moonwalked on the $2,000 check. Now $1,400. Then they're trying to means test that. Then they moved away from $600 a week unemployment down to $400 a week. All of this, by the way, is negotiating against themselves. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the White House. They've already said we're going to use budget reconciliation. So they're doing all of this while their allies in the media are trying desperately, because their ratings are diving, are sinking, because they don't have Trump anymore and his hourly tweets. They're just focused on Trump. Then they're trying to focus on Marjorie Taylor Greene, thinking that Marjorie Taylor Greene and covering her 24/7 will have that same Trump effect with their older audience and make them continue to be glued in. So what are they not doing? They're not covering the fact that there is no eviction protections. There's a moratorium. That's not the same thing as a protection. They're not covering the fact that literally poverty has gone up by 10% during this pandemic. Barely mention it. Not covering the fact that the PPP small business program was raided by plutocrats. They are not touching the fact that during this pandemic, Amazon and other corporate raiders have essentially been terrorizing their workers. Come in or you're gone. Speak out or you're gone. And they're counting on continuing a 5-6 year strategy of only focusing on Donald Trump. When Trump's gone, let's try and find a different Trump as the boogeyman, whether it's Marjorie Greene Taylor. They'll find somebody else if she doesn't work on the ratings. Meanwhile, Trump, he's still strong. A new CBS YouGov poll between Republicans: if Trump formed his own party, would you join it? 70% say either yes or maybe. 70% either yes or maybe. Republicans: important for the party to be loyal to Trump. Very important, 46%. Somewhat important, 27%. This is 7 in 10 we're talking. Republicans are still loyal to Donald Trump. And Trump sees the writing on the wall, folks. I'm not going to read you this whole story, but just a little bit. Already, Trump aides contend the impeachment process has proved beneficial to the ex-president, exposing disloyalty within the party's ranks and igniting grassroots backlash against Republicans who have attempted to nudge the GOP base away from Trump. Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse spent last week fending off constituent criticisms and censures from state party officials after he compared Trumpism to civic cancer for the nation. While ensconced at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Trump has remained in touch with political allies and advisors, but he has intentionally kept a low profile, something that will likely continue this week. Let me find the part. Allies of the president who dismissed the impeachment process as unserious and unconstitutional nevertheless acknowledged Trump can use it to capitalize on grassroots outrage and reconnect with his supporters. They said the former president and his team need to take the process seriously and saturate the airwaves with his defenders. And you know what is going to happen, folks? Trump is going to come out of this after he's after he's acquitted. Trump is basically, the media will be outraged. Biden, Dems, they'll say this is the end of America, blah, 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 blah. Give it a week. Trump will start somehow, even though it's not going to be through Twitter, he'll start getting out there again. And wait till the rallies start again. Wait till Trump's rallies across America. Make America great again. Save America. Wait till Biden pushes the TPP through, which is 100% going to happen. He's already basically signaled that he wants to take a look at it again. Wait till Biden pushes the TPP through. Wait till the economic numbers continue to suffer. Wait till the 1.9 trillion stimulus bill does the same exact thing that the 750 billion did in 2008, which is slowly help the recovery, but not fast enough. You got Biden walking back his promises. You have the Democratic Party fixating on Trump still, QAnon. Meanwhile, people are starving. You're going to have a mass homelessness epidemic because they're not going to do a damn thing to actually forgive the rent, to cancel the rent. And then what you're going to have between Trump's rallies, which are, I'm telling you, save this video, they're going to happen. I'd say give it a month or two. And in 2022, you know the difference? The Democrats aren't going to be able to bank on an unprecedented number of black people coming out in Georgia for them in the congressional midterms. They're not going to be able to bank on an unprecedented amount of black people coming out for them in Michigan, in Wisconsin, and the other states. That's why Biden won. It's because in Atlanta, in Detroit, in Milwaukee, in Philadelphia, black people came out at a much higher number than they did for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Without Trump on the ballot in 2022, sorry, there's no reason to think that there's going to be that same, urgent and high volume of voters. Presumably, we're going to be out of this pandemic, and it won't be as heavy towards mail-in ballots either. You think if the Democratic Party, as their relief to the masses, is a $1,400 check, $400 unemployment that will probably expire by summer or fall because they're stupidly going to set it to expire by the summer, my guess would be. Again, the bureaucratic mess that is unemployment. So God knows if everybody will get it fast enough. Who's going to get blamed for that? And the corporate media, they think they might be helping Biden and the Democrats, but they're actually going to be hurting them because they're going to be fixing on Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these people, while the people that the Democrats need to keep their House majority, keep their Senate, are going to look and say, nobody helped me. I got a check that amounts to crumbs. My small business didn't get bailed out. Nobody stopped my landlord or the banks from kicking me out to the streets. What really the true relief that needs to come, and frankly, shame on Bernie, shame on the squad for progressives not fighting for this. You need $2,000 checks a month until this pandemic, from medical experts, is over. We have the money, $2,000 a month. You don't need unemployment weekly. You need $2,000 a month for individuals, more per couple. You need a freezing on the rent. The federal government will pay the landlords. The federal government will pay the mortgage brokers. That's what we need. That's what other countries are doing. And I'm sorry to Washington Post and all these outlets that are writing, oh, the unprecedented or the sprawling or the massive 1.9 trillion. Yeah, 1.9 trillion, it's a big number. There's a lot of good things in that stimulus bill. Credit to Biden. There are some good things on there. Additional food nutrition. The fact that they want to do $3,000 checks per child is good. I don't have to like Biden. You can credit him when he's right. But that's not enough. That's not enough. They're talking about canceling $10,000 in student loan debt. Are you kidding me? That's a night out to dinner for most people with student loan debt. That's not even, what is that, 1/15 of your student loan debt? $10,000? Come on. So, what I'm here to say, I'm sorry, folks, this is coming. This is coming. If they keep it up, I'm not saying they shouldn't be focused on the impeachment trial right now. I think Trump should be impeached. I think he should be convicted. But the fact of the matter is, Biden should have done the budget reconciliation process right out of the gate. It should be $2,000 per month, not a $1,400 check. this whole fantasy that this is a survival check, this is going to help people survive. Let me ask you a question. If you're struggling right now, is $1,400 going to be literally the difference between you and your family surviving? Tell me if I'm wrong. Of course, we're humans. We'd rather have $1,400 than not have it. But is $1,400 really going to be the difference between survival or not? Tell me in the chat. Is that $1,400 with $400 a week unemployment for a couple months? Is that going to help you survive if you don't have a job? I would love to know, because I don't think that's going to help people survive. I think the bills are too heavy. I think the choices are too much, choosing between medicine and groceries. $1,400 is most people's rent in an average size city. Dude, $1,400, 1 month's rent, and maybe some groceries. Thank you. Must be trouble. Better than nothing. This is what we need to get out of must be trouble. I'm not trying to pick on you. We deserve better than nothing. Why are we allowing this continual framing that this is all we could do? This is not all we could do. We could be doing way, way more. There is no reason why countries far less wealthy than us, are getting $2,000 a month. Some countries are giving more to their citizens than $2,000 a month, expanding health care. And for anybody that thinks coronavirus will just be over when we're at 90% vaccination, we don't know that. And we also don't know if the vaccination for COVID-19 is completely going to work against the two spin-off viruses, the two variants. So, frankly, I think progressives, I understand wanting to give the new president a honeymoon, but why they are, without a fight, not pushing for more than $1.9 trillion? Why there is no organizing to push on the media framing and bullshit? Why Joe Biden is being allowed to moonwalk away from his $15 minimum wage as the first thing right out the door? Now he's saying, I don't think it will be in the the COVID stimulus. Yeah, you think as a standalone bill you're getting $15 minimum wage negotiating with Republicans? There's not one Republican that will vote for it. Hysterical Raider, $5. In New York City, it barely covers rent and 1 pack of ramen noodles. Boom. Bingo. I don't even know if it covers rent in most places in New York City. Just terrible. Just terrible. Real quick, one more story, and I'll keep out on this, but one more story. And as a reminder, if you came to this late, in a little over an hour, we have our members call, Status Coup members call. Hope to see you there. If you're a Status Coup member, you'll get the link, Zoom link. Myself, Jen, John will be making a cameo. Our cameraman, Tina, will be there, reporting for us on the West Coast. Always a lot of fun. It's been a while, but we're going to do it tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. If you sign up as a member before, you'll get the link. Let me give you the join link. Right there, statuscoup.com/join. Hope to see you tonight on our members call. So I want to bring up Amazon's investors. Amazon's investors are speaking out against Amazon. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. Amazon's investors are telling them stop interfering with the U.S. union effort in Alabama. And when we say interfering, we're talking about terrorizing their workers into not voting to join a union, form a union in Alabama. Mail-in balloting has begun this week as workers come under pressure to reject unionization. Amazon should stop interfering with efforts by its workers to unionize ahead of a pivotal vote in Alabama, said a group of more than 70 of its investors. Mail-in balloting began this week among more than 5,800 employees in Bessemer, a suburb of Birmingham, marking the first attempt by U.S.-based Amazon workers to vote for union representation. But an anti-union campaign has been waged through posters, flurries of text messages, and compulsory meetings during working hours. A website has been set up to advise workers that unionization would mean, quote, it won't be easy to be as helpful and social with each other. The Amazon investors, led by the Swedish groups Folksam and Omen Fonder, collectively control more than $20 billion in shares and also include the comptrollers for both New York State and New York City, Legal and General Investment Management, BMO Global Asset Management, and the Church of England Pensions Board. In a letter, they called upon Amazon to end its union busting and remain, quote, neutral. They added that Amazon appears to be going against the tenor of its own global human rights principles. Amazon Human Rights Principles, published on the company's website, which states it respected, quote, employees' right to join, form, or not to join a labor union or other lawful organizations of their own selection without fear of reprisal, intimidation, or harassment. Scott Stringer, New York City comptroller, said, as these workers seek to organize with the union for health, safety, and protection, Amazon's investors are watching. We want workers. We have to know we have their backs. There is power in their unity and power in labor, and they have my full support as they fight for a safe, fair workplace. A successful vote would see workers at the facility join the retail, wholesale, and department store union, which is pledged to focus on grievances that include packing quotas, workplace safety, and time allowed for bathroom breaks. In Europe, Amazon facilities with union-backed workforces were able to stand down with full pay during the early stages of the COVID-19 crisis. So, Alabama is not the first place that has tried to unionize among Amazon workers. And Amazon has pulled every dirty trick in the book to stop it. Thank you for the super chat. Eugene Debs, $10. When do people come before profits? When? Why do the people put up with this? When is enough enough? When the people start organizing for something called a general strike. If we could mass mobilize, if we could get even a quarter, maybe even less, if we can get even a quarter of the people that were on the streets in the spring and summer fighting for racial justice after George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, imagine if you could get even a quarter of those people, maybe even a tenth, to withhold their money from Amazon, big banking, fast food, major retailers. You'll see change, and you'll see it fast. Unfortunately, the capitalist system in this country psychologically keeps people cradled in fetal position, in fear to do that, because they'll fire you, because you'll lose your health care. But they can't do that if everybody, well, not everybody, but as many people as humanly possible come together to strike. That's what we need. We've had little strikes here and there, first day of the month, this and that. We need much more than that. And that's what I've been advocating for basically since Biden won. Because electoral politics is not the only way. And it should not be the only thing we focus on. Because we're seeing you could get the candidates in that you think are going to be the change. But whether through weak political instincts or just something else, a lot of them are not willing to play hardball. So we can't just rely on the candidates running and volunteering for them and giving them our money. We also have to withhold our own money. So I've been saying that for a while, and right now we're working on 2 major investigative pieces, but I do plan in the coming months to interview more organizers, more union folks, to focus on how can we actually put something like this together. I really think it's important. Jimmy's interviewed some organizers and union types about how do we get a general strike. I want to, piggyback off of that and do some of that here. But let me be clear. Amazon has done more than put up poster boards in their Alabama warehouses that, this will break our good vibes. You won't be able to talk to workers as easily about issues because of the union. I know for a fact that they have tried to intimidate workers that, if you guys vote to unionize, we might have to cut jobs because, we'll be making less profit means less ability to keep everybody. So threatening your jobs, surveilling workers, surveilling meetings or conversations workers have been having. It's already clear that they've been doing this. There's been reports a few months ago that Amazon was doing this in the UK, and I have been told that they're doing that here in Alabama. I spoke with John, our cameraman. We're looking into, is there anything going on down there that we should go and actually cover in Alabama? We don't want to send somebody if there's nothing physically happening in terms of, rallies, protests, whatever. It's a pandemic, so right now it seems like the main campaign to unionize is virtual, which we understand. But we're kind of monitoring it because I think it's a big story that we might want to go cover if there's anything happening to physically cover. But I think this is super important because, to be clear, Amazon will do everything humanly possible to stop that first unionization success. Because if there's one that successfully gets confirmed and gets unionized, it could be a domino effect from there. And if one and then multiple Amazon warehouses are able to unionize, then Amazon's economic Hunger Games starts to end. And they do not want that. This is why, take Amazon and make it bigger. This is why the oligarchs, the plutocrats, the people that run the United Corporations of America, they don't want to give an inch. They don't want to give an inch to workers. Because if you give an inch to workers, there's a huge risk to them taking the whole field. So very important that we don't just do hashtags, but we focus on this unionization and effort in Alabama, because it could be a domino effect from there, not just for other Amazon warehouses, but other workers in Walmart, in other companies that have been union busted for decades. So I'm going to try and schedule some interviews with people trying to get this Amazon warehouse unionized. We are going to expose the dirty tricks that Amazon is doing to stop this from happening. And right now, the mail-in balloting has started. They're voting virtually. They have 2 months to send in their ballots, so we're not going to know for a little while. So there's time right now to get this in the main spotlight. Promise you, CNN's going to not cover it. MSNBC, they don't want to touch it. New York Times, you think the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, is going to cover this much? Not happening. But it is very, very important that this is a fair process. Because I think if it were a fair process and there were actually regulators monitoring to make sure Amazon is not intimidating their workers, I can promise you people would vote to form a union in Alabama and elsewhere. And I could tell you from the story that we recently broke about 38-year-old Amazon worker, Pashan Brown, who died. She worked at a Virginia warehouse. She was literally, Amazon was having her and other workers conduct COVID-19 testing. Were they doctors? No. Was she a nurse? No. Did she have any medical expertise or training? No. But they had this woman doing COVID testing. She did not have the proper masks. She did not have proper gloves. She did not have a gown. She did not have surgical, nothing. She was wearing a cotton mask. And Amazon had her for months doing nasal swabs for workers. Well, she came home one night, told her sister, my head hurts. Next morning, she didn't get out of bed. She died, 38 years old, no major health problems before that. We don't know if she died of COVID because her family's poor and couldn't afford an autopsy, and Amazon wouldn't pay for one. But I know for a fact, once I broke that story and it started getting traction on Twitter, when I interviewed Pashan's sister, Amazon supervisors literally went to workers and said, you need to stop talking about this at work. This is a private matter. Do not talk about it. That's what they do. They sweep things under the rug. They sweep corruption, death under the rug. And in this case, They will lie to their workers. They will intimidate their workers. They will threaten their workers. They will distort the issue to their workers to try to get them to vote no to unionize. So I'm going to do everything I can to get the truth out. And I will be interviewing people fighting to unionize that warehouse in Alabama. I think it's super important. So that's it. Join us in about an hour for our members call. Statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member right now and get the link to join our members call. It will be at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Zoom. Always a good time. Looking forward to it. And I will see you tonight on the members call, and then I will see you back here tomorrow on our live stream. If you haven't, subscribe to this channel. Hope you could sign up as a member for our members call and other great behind-the-scenes bonus content you get as a member. And we'll be dishing some stuff on the members call tonight that you might not know about. So, looking forward to it. See you in about an hour. Peace out.